Mayan Buntag, friends and family. Welcome to another edition of my Filipino adventure, and this is part 2 of how to make income in the Philippines. And on this episode, we're going to talk about franchises. Franchises are always been a great way for people, especially people who I would say are not the most entrepreneurial in that they have their own original ideas, but they have these tried and true methods that the franchisee will train you, show you how to run a successful business if it's a successful franchise, and walk you through it. And this is good for anybody who's got a little bit of self-starterness in their essence. This is probably where I would say a lot of opportunity lies the most outside of land-based. So the first one we did the land-based, which was property farming, resorts, bed and breakfast, hotels. If you own property, that was part 1. So if you watched it, go back and watch part 1. And I forgot to start this off with saying I am not an expert. Do not take my advice. This is just a growing and learning and experience channel. I've been only really seriously researching a lot of this for the last couple months. So I've got a lot to learn. This is just what I've learned so far. So always be kind in the comments. If you've got positive constructive comments and you'd like to add to this discussion, feel free. If I had said something wrong, correct me in a nice way, because I'm a sensitive soul. But let's always keep this channel classy and very civil. And I just want to make another quick disclaimer. I think I upset someone in yesterday's video saying that Mitch was crazy. And I meant that only in a positive. He's very entertaining. He's a little crazy. He made a video of him cleaning out his pig pen in a Speedo with a power washer, and by the end of the video he's just covered in pig excrement, and I thought that was funny. So when I said that Mitch was crazy, I meant that in a positive way. I mean, he was very entertaining, and I had a subscriber that says, I'm unsubscribing you because of what you said about Mitch. Mitch is very good to Filipinos. Sorry, that was a complete misunderstanding, lost in translation somehow. We're not here to talk down or bad about any vloggers. Vlogging it's a tough business. You kind of put yourself out there and for everyone to see, and I'd say there's always a portion of the viewers who like to try to knock you down a couple pegs. Makes them feel better to make you feel worse, I guess. I don't know. But anyway, so I wanted those disclaimers to start with. And I don't know all the ins and outs of the Philippines, but from what I have discovered from all the conversations, I've been with Yna for a couple of years now, and I'm always picking her brain about ideas how to make extra income. And this is what I've come up with so far. So I don't want to blab on too long. I tend to blab on too long. So let's get right into it. Now, if you go to the shopping malls or not so much the shopping malls, like bus terminals, ferries, anything where people are waiting, especially if it's indoors, you will find these food kiosks and food carts. Festivals, which they seem to have a festival every weekend in a province or barangay somewhere. They love their festivals in the Philippines. You're going to see these food carts. A lot of them are not like really franchised. This is like fried chicken or street food. Lots of barbecued food on a stick, things like that. These are just homegrown stands and carts. And then there's these franchise ones. And I'm going to say to go to, I think it's called franchisemanila.com, and start searching and see if anything piques your interest. Now, we were at our tourist mall in Talabon with Brian and Marcel and Yna and I, and we picked up these buku shakes. It was a little kiosk, and buku is coconut, and so like a coconut smoothie or shake in ice. They serve them in like a water bottle with a cap screw on, and there was a hole punched in the cap, and you put a straw in there. And it was so hot that day, those things were so delicious. I was floored on how delicious they were and refreshing they were. And Brian had mentioned, he said you could probably pick up this whole outfit for about a couple $1,000s. So when I got back, I started researching that. I used to scour the franchise magazines when I was younger. Back then, they were magazines, not online, because I was always interested in being self-employed. And I found them. I found the Buku Shake. And there's this company called Food Carts that you'll find if you do any research, and they have all kinds of them. And they have. I got some ideas here. Let me see. I didn't make a few notes here. So the Buku, like the fried street foods, barbecue street foods, burgers, buy one, get one. Those aren't very tasty, in my opinion. You might like them. They got these pork dumplings. I think they're called somai, and the shupa, which are the steamed buns. They're like these white, fluffy buns injected with meat and sauce. And my God, I love those things so much. I'm definitely gonna get one of those just so I can eat shupa every day. A lot of potato ones, fries, curly fries. They got waffles and pancakes. Mr. Softy, like a frozen yogurt. Lots of fruit juices, fruit shakes. If you know what bubble teas are, they're like a tea or a shake, and at the bottom they have these little tapioca balls that are chewy and delicious. I like those a lot. So there's all these different ideas for these kiosks. Now, one thing I like about this seller is, if you find, I think it's just called Food Carts, is he'll sell you the cart, the wheeled cart. It's a small cart with a sign above it. All the appliances you need, like to say for the Buku example, a cooler, heavy-duty blender, a punch so you can punch the holes in the top of the water bottle caps. I think you get a startup of caps and straws. I'm sure there's syrups and things like that they use to enhance the flavors. Maybe packets or syrups, you get those. You get a uniform, you get training videos. All that for like less than 40,000 pesos. So less than $800, you can get all that. And then if you want like a kiosk, like what we had at the tourist mall, it's a more permanent. So the difference between the cart and the kiosk is size, for one. The carts are a lot smaller, and the kiosks don't have wheels. You can move them, but they're basically Formica cabinets they're like I think like 7 foot high. And they have a lighted sign, and there's electricity. They have locking doors, cabinet doors, a countertop with signage, with whatever you buy. Like the Buku, they'll have like a photo signage of the item you're selling, and a back piece too, where you have storage. So I think the whole thing's probably about 6 foot by 6 foot by 3 foot high, except for the front would be like 7 foot high. Those are about 88,000 pesos just for the kiosk. Then if you want to buy the ingredients and the appliances, and that's additional. I think they said that if you don't want the cart, it's just the startup business, it's only like 15 or 20,000 pesos. So let's say 100,000 pesos for a kiosk and all the equipment, the basic startup needs, the uniforms, the training, all that, a couple $1,000. Brian was pretty much spot on with that. Now with those, the only research I found are ROI, or return on investment, and forecasts of sales, where I think were for the carts. They might have been for the kiosks, I'm not sure. But I think they said around 2,000 pesos a day in sales. Not very much, right? That's like $40 a day. And then you got to pay your workers, you got to pay your rent, you got to restock everything. So you're not going to make a lot of money on that. But at that price, if you buy a couple of them, you can probably make an extra $300 or $400, maybe $500 a month, and that's probably all you need right there if you can own a couple of those. And when I say own, I mean her own, not you own. I think maybe you can own the equipment, but the business will have to be in her name. And there is a whole argument about the 60-40 rule of how you can do business. And if you know these loopholes, go ahead and put them in the comments. But I'm speaking generally. Generally, the land's going to be in your Filipino's name. The business is going to be in your Filipino's name. Just assume that if anything happens, you're going to lose all this. So don't invest more than you're willing to walk away from. And I say the most important thing to consider when thinking about these permanent kiosks type of things is your location. The better the location, the better your sales. The better the location, the higher your rent's going to be also. I know I'm not sure how it works in the Philippines. I know in some of the malls, they'll do a percentage of your sales. They won't even charge you a set monthly fee. You'll show them your books at the end of the month and they'll do a percentage of what you did. And that's how they'll charge you. I'm not sure how it works in the Philippines. I think it's more of a set price. Get your location. Get your location before. See if you can get a lease or a contract before you go and make your investment. It's very important. Now I think with the carts, they're movable. So you can and there's permits involved too. There's about 6,000 pesos in permits. Mayors, you got to doing business as what we call a DBA. They call it DTI. You'll need a barangay a permit. You'll need a mayor's permit. You'll need all these different permits before you can even start. And like I said, it's about 6,000 pesos in permit fees. And then, so with these rolling carts, you could probably maybe just set up on the weekends. Or like in Talibun, they have this barbecue at nighttime after the mall closes. They set this barbecue up, like a street barbecue. Maybe you could get in there and set up just a stand to sell sweets or drinks or something like that to complement everybody else. Or if it's just only if you just set it up at festivals, or if you just set it up on weekends and market days and things like that, it's a little bit more portable. So there's going to be a huge difference in sales is if you're at the mall every single day, 7 days a week, or if you're just using it on the weekends. So it's hard to actually say exactly how much you can make, but I think it's safe to say that you can make a few $100 a month on your little stand, and even more. But let's say generally about a couple $100 a month on one of these stands, on one. So then you can buy two. It'd be optimal is if you can get into a new mall and set up 2 or 3 of these. This way you can maintain and oversee operations in one location. You can go one to the next, and you can keep an eye on all your investments this way. And then I think your sales will be improved if you have to monitor, you have to manage, or just work it yourself. You don't even hire employees, and there goes a higher income for you. So check those out. I say food is always a solid investment because people love to eat everywhere in the world, and the Filipinos are no exception. So when you go to the malls, you'll see all the restaurants and the kiosks seem to be pretty busy. You see the cell phone shops and stuff, those always seem to have customers. But a lot of the clothing stores and the chains and stuff, I don't see them doing bang up business from my experience, and I might be wrong. But my experience of being in the malls, there's always the restaurants that are full, the shops are sparse, and some of them, the poor people working behind the counter are just almost asleep, they're so slow. Okay, and then we're gonna move on to larger franchises. You can go as big as you want, but remember that you're gonna leave this behind when you're gone. If you are very vested with your Filipino family, you want to leave them a legacy, you want to leave them a way to make money for, like I said, their family and your kids, if you have kids, something to leave them. We noticed that there's no 7-Eleven in Talibun. That would be awesome to have a 7-Eleven. And the prices aren't as bad as you think. I think the 7-Eleven was 12 million pesos. I mean, the problem with the bigger franchises is that you'll have to pay money to buy the name, to use the franchise name, and a lot of these, most of them will charge you a monthly royalty fee, a percentage, 2 or 3%. I've heard as high as 10% of your monthly income will have to send back to them. But if they're a good franchisee, they will use that money to advertise for the group advertising. So they'll run ads all over the place to promote the name, not so much just your store, but in general, the name of the store. I have here 1 to 5 million. I think that's what I read on the 7-Eleven. I'm going to guess it's more than that. You need 120 square meters. In some of these locations, they'll pick the location for you. They're real strict about that. Bo's Coffee. I didn't write down a price for Bo's Coffee. Bake shops. Now, bake shops, you walk down the street, it's going to be a pharmacy or a bake shop every 20 feet, it seems like. Those seems to be very popular. And you can open like the generics pharmacy. And they're small little pharmacies you see pop up. And do I have the prices? Did I write the prices down? It was very reasonable. It was like 1,000,000 pesos or so to get started in the generics pharmacy. I'm pretty sure you'll have to hire a pharmacist or become a pharmacist, or just hire one, but you don't need to be a pharmacist to own one. All the way up to Jollibee, which is not even going to talk about that. That's just too big, but 15 to 30 million pesos. But we'll stay in like the mid ones. Like you can get a Dairy Queen, but it might cost you up to 60 million pesos. So these are for the people who have bigger pockets. They want to invest in their future. These definitely are not for me. I'm only looking to supplement my income. But there is no shortage of larger chains. You just have to know that that's going to be the end of your money. I don't think your kids are really going to see it. If you have kids already, or your American side of the family, this is going to leave to your Filipino side of the family. Bigger outfits like that. No, the profits will be higher. Your investments are going to be higher, but at the end, it is a gift to your family. Except for, I think maybe like the pharmacy and some of the smaller ones who have lower investments, they might be worth looking into. I think the pharmacy is like I said, like 1,000,000 pesos, $20,000. That's not even a new car here in the United States. So this is the franchise. Probably I'm thinking of, I'm going to sample from each one of these for myself. The next one, in the next part, we're just going to talk about other general ideas, like miscellaneous ideas to make income, and then I'm going to do a final review in the next one. So this is the franchise one. I said I'm going to sample from the property base. I'm going to do a little bit of that. I definitely think I'm going to do something in this section, the franchise, like the buku shake. And Yna and I have our own idea for a kiosk that I don't think anyone in the Philippines has done yet. And I'm going to keep that a little quiet for now. And Brian and Marcel know what it is. And just if they're watching, I made some samples up, and holy moly, it's pretty good. So we've got sample a little bit of the franchise, and then the next part we're going to talk about other general ideas. I'm going to sample maybe a little bit of that and incorporate all three of these income ideas together to make a little here, a little there, and a little there, and to supplement my income. So let's leave it there with the franchise section. If you have any comments, be cool. Leave them in the comments section. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. We're really close. I think we're down to about 85 more subscribers to hit 1,000. That'll help us monetize the website, and that's part of our retirement plan is this YouTube video. A very small part of it, but hey, every little bit helps when you're living in the Philippines. Do all that. Always, be kind to each other. Be kind on the site. Let's keep everything civil, and always be classy.